Hello, welcome to Holly and Martin Do Road Safety. Martin and I work for Suffolk County Council's Road Safety team. We are here to provide you with some useful advice for life on the road. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning, Holly.
Today, we are joined by our colleague, Road Safety Officer Jane Holland, who is a qualified driving instructor and a mother of two, to discuss learning to drive throughout the lockdown period. As well as this, maybe giving you some useful tips and tricks to learning to drive once the restrictions have been lifted. Morning, Jane.
Hello, good morning, Holly and Martin.
So, first question, Jane. What advice would you give to learner drivers who have had to stop taking lessons because of COVID-19?
Hello, well, yes, if someone's had to stop taking lessons, what they can do is keep revising for their theory if they haven't passed it yet. They can read their books, do online tests. There's lots of online resources to practice for the hazard perception as well. They could have a chat to their instructor. Some instructors are doing online theory training at the moment, so they could see if their usual instructor is doing that. They won't be able to book a theory test at the moment. They're suspended until the 31st of May, but they can keep practicing so they're really ready for it. Um, if they've been having practical lessons, even though they can't necessarily get out and practice, they could revise the theory behind what they've been learning, just to so they don't completely forget all of that. Also, getting to grips with car maintenance is a really good idea, ready for the show me, tell me questions when they take their test. So, if they do have access to a car, open the bonnet, get familiar with where everything is, maybe practice filling up the washer bottle and checking the oil and things. Then it might be that you can get some practice with a family member at the moment. If you can, just make sure that they have had a license for over 3 years and that they're over 21, and also someone that you're currently living with under the current lockdown rules. Also, make sure you've got correct insurance for your car. And you must stick to the current lockdown rules and only make journeys that fit with the rules. So things like driving to get essential groceries, or to somewhere to get some exercise, or to an essential appointment. And that would be a really good way of getting some practice while your instructor can't be with you.
Lovely. Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, Jane, one thing that I'm sure lots of the learner drivers and particularly their parents are concerned about is that when they do start learning to drive again, how can driving instructors keep the learners safe when they're in the car?
Yeah, that's a very good question. There is some advice that's been given out to instructors. What they're being asked to do is to call or text each student just before the lesson to double check they've had no symptoms for the last 7 days, and also to remind them to wash their hands, um, as per the government guidance, just before they come out for the lesson. The instructor should have hand sanitizer available and use it themselves just before the lesson. And both of them should really avoid touching their faces for the duration of the lesson. Before each lesson, the instructor should be cleaning the door handles inside and out, the window and mirror controls, the seat and head restraints, the seat belt and its connector, the gear lever, steering wheel, the indicator and wiper stalks, car keys, and any training resources. So basically, everything that might be touched by the instructor or the student should be clean. They're also being advised to keep windows open during the lessons just to keep air flowing. Um, there has been a little bit of chat about would a plastic screen or divider be a good safety precaution, but at the moment it's probably not going to be very effective in this situation just because the instructor might not be able to reach the controls very easily if they needed to. So it might be something that's developed at some point that's suitable to use, but I don't know of anything at the moment.
Oh, thank
Brilliant.
you.
At the moment, I know, speaking from personal experience, my dad is taking my sister out to drive. Lots of parents, lots of older brothers, sisters, whoever's at home are taking their learner out to drive. What tips would you give to those people who are teaching their child or person at home to drive? What sort of things would you give them?
Okay, well, a really good thing that's going to benefit the parent and the student is to have a refresh of the highway code themselves. So bring your knowledge up to date, have a refresh of all the rules. If your son or daughter is learning the theory, learn it with them so that you know what they need to know. And if you're what you want to do is keep your knowledge really good. If you ignore some rules of the road, you might unintentionally pass bad habits on to your son or daughter. So try and make your own driving as good as possible, and then the learner will pick up these good habits from you. Also, like we touched on before, make sure you're legal. So you need to be over 21 and have been driving for over 3 years and have the correct insurance. Other things that are really useful to have, you can get an interior suction mirror just so that you can keep up to date with traffic behind. You'll need to have L plates on the vehicle, and these need to be on the body of the car, not in the windows, so that they don't restrict your view at all. Because the learner is going to be getting used to a different car, make sure you start off somewhere really quiet so they've got time to get used to the car without the pressure of too much traffic. And also bear in mind you don't have dual controls, so like their instructor would have dual controls and be able to use them if needed. You haven't got these, so a quieter road is definitely good to start with. Make sure your verbal communication is really clear. Give your instructions in plenty of time, because the learner's going to have to they'll take a bit longer to process what you've told them and put it into practice. This is a little bit of a tricky one, but try and keep calm whatever the situation, as if you start to get flustered or a little bit cross, it won't help the learner at all. Remember, you're supervising, so you're in charge and you are therefore liable for any driving offences. So remember just to not use your mobile phone at all, no eating or drinking while you're teaching. And just practice looking ahead, well ahead as much as possible, so that you've got lots of time to plan.
Excellent. Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, I understand, Jane, at the moment most driving tests are being suspended, but any ideas what's going to happen in the future? Will tests be changed in any way?
I haven't heard of any changes to the test. At the moment, they're still going ahead. They're only going ahead for critical workers. They're being carried out as usual, just with extra precautions in place like hand washing before and after. And also, one other change at the moment is that no one else is allowed to accompany the learner on the test. So the instructor or family member who takes them will have to stay behind. I haven't heard of any changes to the test, but it might be something that's being developed. We'll have to wait and see.
I imagine, Jane, at the minute, many parents and many learners themselves are sitting at home wondering how the test centres are going to manage the 3 month potential backlog of people wanting to book tests. Has there been any information shared about that?
At the moment, no. When rebooking opens, then priority is going to be given to those who've already had their test cancelled. So if you have been cancelled, you'll be booked first. And so the wait is going to be a lot longer. It's probably going to be around 3 months, because I think that's the length of time they've been stopped for. Just another thing to bear in mind, if you are waiting to do your test, your theory test can't be extended, the date of that. So if your date is coming up and you can't get a booking for your practical test, you will unfortunately need to pay and book your theory again.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. Just can you, I wonder if you could confirm for me? You said that some people are able to take tests at the moment. Who are these people? What sort of category do they need to be in?
Yeah, the emergency tests that are around at the moment are only available for critical workers. So people like those who work in health and social care, education and childcare. There's quite an extensive list of people. If you look on the Gov UK website, it will list all the people who are able to book a test.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, that is the end of the discussion for today. We hope you found some of this useful. Please feel free to contact us on suffolkroadsafe.com. Please share with your friends, family, anyone you think would find this useful. Thank you for listening, and there'll be more information linked down below. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.